Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. I'm Geraldine, as you know, and today I'm going to be talking about how to release cyclical ancestral trauma. This is going to be a very quick video because I have a lot of appointments today, and but I definitely want to get this out for our group members of Bay Area Meditation. And let's get right into it. So I want to explain how we are interconnected with our ancestors and how we unite with them. So in a couple other videos, I've kind of briefly discussed how we are interconnected. Hi everyone. Hi Kristen. Hi Gerard. Hey Frank. Tove. Hi. Stefan. Welcome, welcome my loves. Welcome. Kryam. Hi. So great to see you guys. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. I hope you guys are having an incredible week and you had an amazing weekend. Wonderful time to recharge. It's only 12 o'clock and I feel like it's been a long day, so we are just really busy today. But I want to get into how to heal this cyclical trauma. And over time, what I'm finding is that when we do healings now, as opposed to 10 years ago, the information that comes up has changed. And it's really interesting how that's happened, because it's a testament to how we are going through this kind of evolution, cycle of evolution, how things are changing. And you know, when the entire reality changes, our existence and our I guess the energy of our universe is shifting vibrationally through the cycle, is very, very important. And so when we start to see changes, when we are doing that inner work and we start to feel the shifts that we come inside. Gerard, the last video you did really helped my girlfriend. Oh, that's awesome. That is so amazing to hear that. Thank you. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I am here. Thank you for watching and listening and working on yourselves. So let me go back to what we're talking about, this cyclical trauma. And so what tends to happen, and for a way for us to have another perspective of noticing the matrix or control system that we're in this reality, is to understand that a lot of us are cycling through very similar traumas. We are the same storylines over and over. They may shift a little with the characters, with the people that are playing the roles of causing and inflicting pain or insecurities, and the person acting or reacting to that. But we see this across the board in all different cultures, in different ways of playing out these roles of this kind of a trauma. And the basics of trauma, I mean, I'm going to put up a list of traumas. And actually what I'll do is I'll put up a recording of a presentation I did specifically on trauma and the biology of how it is ingrained in our DNA. Because as we live our lives, obviously we are experiencing and pulling in experiences through our perceptions and energy, and all of that shifts and changes who we are. So anytime we go out into the world and we start having a perception about things, we are processing information, and all of that is also being processed into our body, depending on how we react to it, how we interact with those emotions and experiences. And the most important indicator in our lives is our emotions. So when we are clearing up this kind of cyclical trauma, we have to look at the programming that provided us with the perception that we currently have now. And when we look at that, then we start to see, you know, where there might be an imbalance. It is an opportunity for us to understand whether there is an imbalance in our perception and how we can rebalance that, how we can kind of work with that energy. Hi, Nikki. Great to see you here. Hey, Carlos. Welcome. So, when I talk about ancestral trauma, I'm talking about healing our entire network. So I was mentioning how our healing now is different than it was about 10 years ago. And this is so amazing, because with the healings that I do with people, I'm not just seeing individual contractual agreements. I'm not seeing just connections for that person and, you know, whatever impactful relationship they had or experience they shared. What I'm showing is that it goes beyond that. Sorry, I'm spitting everywhere. It's so exciting. What I'm noticing is that it goes beyond that. And when these contractual agreements come up, when we go within to go into a reading state where we start to access the Akashic informations of ourselves, okay, that's what we need to do. We need to access the information that's provided in our space, in our make of who we are and our experiences. And all of that information is stored within our energetic body, within the ethereal bodies. We have many different layers, and all of these experiences are categorized within those layers depending on what is resonating with what hasn't processed will be manifested into, it can be manifested physically, and what we are still working through and what we're still dealing with is going to be resurfacing over and over again. Whatever trauma and pain body that we haven't processed fully will continue to resurface over and over again. So in our lives, we can kind of identify what are those patterns that we're having based simply on the triggers that you have throughout your everyday life. Okay, and it's not to say, a lot of us can think, oh, how can there be a connection between our everyday traumas and, you know, the bigger picture of our ancestors? And, you know, the answer is simple. I mean, we are a collection of everything that we have learned and picked up from our family growing up, and then our society and our nucleus. But what we often fail to register is that our entire all our choices for the connections that we make are made in resonance with what we believe, with our beliefs, right? We often don't hang out with people that we don't align with in our basic beliefs or our moral structure, right? A lot of us are pretty selective for the most part with the groups that we interact with. So when we look at that from a bigger perspective, when you zoom out and look at those collections of people and your network and what it's made out of, we can have a variety of people with different personalities, different careers, all kinds of amazing individuals. However, if you go deeper into understanding the psyche and the triggers, you will see that a lot of times we mirror the things in us that we are needing to heal and recover. And we do that. Our higher self and our soul essence does that to allow us to heal, to allow us to open up those opportunities and tackle those triggers. And some of us that haven't taken the time to kind of assess our relationships, to assess whether we are coming from the highest, most authentic point and perspective with our interactions, are attracting a lot of things that are pulling from the lower aspects, which are necessary to help your ascension, to help you move forward. And sometimes we get overwhelmed with these kinds of opportunities, these interactions, these difficult situations. So we start to embody a lot of struggle, and we see them as blockages, and we get stuck in the superficial concept of the relationship. So it's triggering me, it's challenging me, and a lot of us will not know how to process that, so we get stuck. And then we start going into these patterns. So we, as a whole, need to target and be conscious of our everyday interactions, because those are the gems to help us understand what our triggers are. And when we understand our triggers, when we review our week, our day, even the last couple hours, to kind of see what's the emotion that we most tend to get back into, it kind of gives us this really great overview, this quick overview on how our emotional state is at that moment. And so when that is occurring, it affords you an opportunity to see how we can shift and change, how we can help ourselves better. We have to be our own best friends. We have to be our support system, and nobody will be a better support system than yourself. because only you know what you've been through. Only you know your truths. Only you know genuinely how you feel. And sometimes when things are difficult to process, we want to put them in the very back of our mind, put them in the back burner to deal with later, when we feel we're stronger or when we think we have time. But what we're not understanding is that in our everyday life, the triggers are going to mirror that, and they're going to keep coming up more and more until you take the time to look at it and deal with it and assess it. So that's how to access, how to start to reach the information. Review your last 24 hours, review the past week, the past month. Take a look at what are the patterns in your interactions with people. What are the things that you always tend to go back into, okay? And Lila, hi, thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it when you guys share it, because that we can reach more people and maybe help them. Some people are going through dark times and they kind of need some more information, little tools and tips to help them get through. So when you share this, it really helps. Thank you very much for doing so. So when we have the consciousness of what is our triggers in our everyday life, now we have something to work with, right? Now we got something that we can, a little information. So what we want to do is we want to go to that perspective of, in our work, in meditation, when you take time to silence your mind, I want you to go into that emotion. And a lot of us will find that the triggers, the things that really don't allow us to move forward, are sometimes painful emotions that we resist feeling. Okay, so that's really important. When we are blocking and resisting feeling certain emotions, you know, we're kind of not wanting to go there. Sometimes in the spiritual community, we have this thing where we're like, we always have to be high vibration. We always have to be conscious and awake and not feel negative emotion. And keeping your vibration high is very important, consciously. Like in this moment, I am safe, I am here, I'm in my room. You know, should I be dwelling on the future or the past? No, we shouldn't, right? We should be in the present moment. We should be present, and that would avoid us from tapping into negative emotions that are unnecessary, okay? Those are fluffy emotions that are not utilized in this moment. However, Ben, interesting topic, directly affected to my friend. Awesome. Please feel free to share with him and see if maybe it can help him out a little bit with what's happening. Because all of us, it seems like right now, all of us are kind of targeting our ancestral lineage, and we are being called to clean that up. Because as I said in the ascension, this is the time. This is the time to do that. The unification of our souls are all going through this process of healing, of awakening. So we're all going to be experiencing this sooner or later. And so here are some tools to help you. Okay, hi Maria. Loretta, awesome to see you too. All my love. Thank you for being here. So when we are, I'm going to go back to what I was talking about here, about the emotions and the resistance to feel them. Okay, so one thing is coming into the present moment, but another thing is being in denial of the emotion that you're feeling. And some of us that have been through trauma, automatically in our mind will not want to engage in that emotion because it pulls up way too much emotion, way too many memories of the past. However, my beloved light worker, my best friend, I ask that you take the time to, if not now, in the near future, do not fear feeling these emotions. Take the time to feel the emotions and explore them and understand how you relate with them and what they do for you. Because your life is being built on those emotions. And what I tell people is that we become slaves of the emotions that we do not want to feel, that we do not want to address. Okay? And so it's really important because we spend our lives escaping feeling those emotions, and that causes us even more harm, because what we're doing is we are choosing the timeline that is highest in resonance with that resistance. You understand that? When we are constantly choosing timelines, we choose timelines with our choices, with our thoughts, with our emotions, multiple timelines, multidimensionally. Okay? multiple timelines, multidimensionally. So when we are in the process of grieving or going through a traumatic situation and we stop ourselves from feeling those emotions, we are storing that information and solidifying it in our etheric body. So what happens is that now we have a blockage that we have created energetically, and all our perceptions, all our experiences from that moment on, even if we go out and we go have drinks, or we try to escape smoking, or we try to hang out with friends, go watch a movie, do something like that to take us away from that emotion, when you're done with that activity, you're going to be right back in the thick of this emotion because it's a blockage. And blockages, when we accumulate them over time, make up our perception, our basic emotions. They move us out of our potential timelines for success, for love, for attracting, and for, more importantly, staggering our creation, our creative energy, our creative potential and ability. Okay, so these kinds of things, we're talking in a macrocosmic perspective, what happens to us in our everyday lives. Now, imagine these kinds of things happening over time, cycles and cycles and cycles and cycles. So your entire family line dealing with these kinds of things, because here's what happens. That blockage is not going to go away until you address it, until you fix it. So what are you doing? You're accumulating blockages, you're accumulating information, and so over time this becomes a part of who you are and a part of your belief system. So now you're going to get married, you're going to have children. First of all, you're going to attract a partner that is in alignment with that perception, in alignment with that vibration. Okay, maybe you have different perceptions. It's a complex thing. You have different perceptions, but vibrationally your information as a whole is resonating with this as a baseline, and your partner is going to be resonating with that. So we start doing some digging at these partners and what connected them. We start to see a lot of resonance there, a lot of mirroring of triggers, and oftentimes, because our higher self is conscious, it is going to attract and pull us into relationships, situations, and networks to help us ascend. Because as a whole, as a mass, as a collective, we are, let's say, molecules of an organism that is constantly ascending, healing, moving. And so inherently, our entire reality is based on ascension and change and evolution. And evolution from many different perspectives. So when we are holding on to this heavy information, life will create situations to make us focus and clean up all of that heaviness. So here's what happens on a larger scale. So now you have children, and your children are going to take on that thing. As a parent, all of your fears, all of your insecurities, all of the lack of love or connection that you had with yourself are going to be carried on to your children, because this is how your perception is when you're teaching your child. When, you know, they want to, you know, go out and, I don't know, talk to a certain person, or go out and experiment and be with friends, we're going to come from a place of fear, obviously. And this is a very simplistic example. This is probably not the best example, but, you know, we're coming from fears. What I'm saying is that we're playing out our child rearing from those fears and those perceptions. Okay, amazing question from Sean here. If you fix issues but don't reproduce, does it help break the family cycles into future, or just free you, the individual? Incredible question, and yes. What we are dealing with, oh, excuse me one moment. What we are dealing with when we are reproducing, and again, I'm going here, is that we are playing through our cycles. Now, what is imperative for each person is to heal the trauma and clean up these blockages before you have children, hopefully, if you plan on having children, because yes, this is going to, you know, be passed on to your children, and it's going on to them not just from the everyday, you know, experiences that you have with them and the vibrational accumulation of information, but also from their DNA and their ancestral line from other souls in the network. So let me quickly explain this. accumulation of these souls that are now connected in a family. Okay, what makes up a family is the vibrational information that each has shared. So all of them are connecting in this nucleus. They are connected by DNA, by alterations of DNA since the beginning of their DNA root, and also from the vibrational frequency that is pulling them together as a soul group with particular lessons and evolution that needs to occur for that soul group. Okay, so we are put together here in bubbles and groups on this planet, and our groups are going to consist of our family. They're going to consist of our relationships, of our interactions, of our children, our extended family. All of that is a group that all of us, when we look deeper, we're going to see that we are resonating and mirroring a lot of those things. And what happens in the cycle of reincarnation is that these same soul contracts, fractals of soul, okay, throughout our lifetime, we break apart into fractals of soul. And those fractals of soul must be reintegrated. They break apart through trauma and through pain. So those have to be reintegrated. And when a soul group is constantly going through a lot of trauma, pain, we can look at, we can go to all of the traumatic situations that have happened in history and how our roots are connected to that. We are holding that information still, okay? And so all of that is being passed down on and on and on through different life cycles is being captured in the subconscious mind as information that we pull from. Sometimes when I do healing on people, there is resentment, and the resentment doesn't go from it. They picked it up from the mother, from the womb. They are absorbing the resentment that the mother is experiencing through her the gestation period. Okay, so there you go, some information is being passed on to the child, and now the child is born, and all of a sudden she has resentment, and she's not sure why. However, this is also connected to that individual soul group and her history. And what we'll find is that in these networks, fractals of soul are being reincarnated into the family members, the new family members, as they come into the lineage. And sometimes there's reincarnation of souls that have not finished the work in their lifetime. So now we come in as the next children, as the next generation, to clean it up. We have the opportunity to clean it up. And as a whole, depending on the cycle of the evolution that we are in, we will be forced and, forced in a way. By forced, I mean through the painful situations, through the times of our reality that we're living through family problems, through blockages, all of those things, to face these key things. And going back to his question that he asked, ultimately, the souls that are coming in right now, and for a while, are here to heal, to clean up the ancestral lineage, because the purpose of our life is to leave the reincarnation cycle, right? And so if we understand on the highest level our soul purpose, and we come to the conclusion that having children is really not for us, then the couple things go into that, but we understand what it means to process this kind of information. So I am going to go back into this a little bit more soon, and I have to go to an appointment right now, but I want to make sure that any questions that you guys have about this topic, we're going to go in even more a little bit later, and I'd love to answer them. So put your questions below, and I will be back tonight. All right? All my love. See you soon. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.